I was coming up here to get a piece of firewood, and I rounded the corner. Saw this guy. See, he's positioning himself for a strike when he closes himself up like that. And in a situation like this, just assume it's poisonous, unless you know for sure, and that's probably safest. Unfortunately, you know, the other thing is it could be food. So all I saw was the glass coming at my face, and I thought, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. I went shoulder into the side, and it was when we first hit, because it was a hard hit. Bam! And then we just kept rolling, kept going. I thought it was going to stop right there, but it didn't stop. It's true what they say, it all happens in slow motion. In the process, I'm like, nobody get hurt, nobody get hurt. Like that, let's roll. And come up, and that's it, we're done. It's just a bad roll. And just as I was thinking that, that's when I hit. Well, Max, that's the end of this shoot.
Both Logan and I were in many respects back in the game. Logan after beating cancer, and myself after a near-fatal car crash. I wasn't about to let that beat me, so this time with my son along for the challenge, I came back to face survival in Mongolia. It would represent for me a chance to pass on life and survival skills to Logan, now 19 years old. But youth, though inspiring and full of unchecked confidence, brings along with it inexperience and stubbornness, especially when it comes to a father and son relationship.
You know, survival techniques and methods are pretty much the same all around the world, or at least how you approach them is the same. What changes in the circumstances, time of year, clothing you have, do you have food, are you injured? So if you can master the general techniques of survival, making shelter, making fire, getting food, water, making a signaling device, then you can pretty much save yourself and ultimately survive. Now, if I tell you that it's harder to survive in Arizona than it is in Siberia, or it's more difficult to survive in upstate New York than it is in New Zealand, I'm speaking a truism, because all that changes are the circumstances. Now, Mongolia sounds remote and exotic, like Siberia or the Amazon jungle, and it is. This area here is some of the homeland of Genghis Khan, the greatest military leader of all time. But none of that matters when it comes to how Logan and I will find shelter out here, food or water, and ultimately survive in Untitled Mongolia.
I'm always asked, where is the most difficult place to survive? But it's not about geography, it's about conditions. If it's cold, it's difficult. If it's balmy, you have forgiveness time. By this standard, you can perish just outside of New York City or do quite well in the middle of a jungle or Mongolia.
Crew has dropped us off, they're gone. And Logan and I are left to traverse these hills.
Such a remote and exotic sounding name, Mongolia. Yet here the grass makes for easy travel, and the hills have plenty of traversable ground.
I'm gonna take my shirt off, let the sweat dry a bit, and walk around, see what else we got around here.
You sweat, you die. My mantra for survival always. When the sun goes down, so does the heat.
There's an area up here that might work. Oh, yeah. This is a wolf den. Let's take a look at all the wolf scat here. We may have visitors later tonight. That'll be interesting. But if it comes on to rain, this will help. At least we can tuck in out of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. And otherwise, what we do is get a fire going here and let it reflect the heat off. What I'm seeing is not a massive fire, but definitely a good-sized fire for the night with this amount of wood. We'll do all right here, right? As long as we don't get trampled by horses or yaks, I guess.
Wild horses still roam these beautiful hills of Mongolia.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna maybe start trying to find some firewood so we can have a nice fire tonight. It gets really, really cold, and I'm not too excited about freezing tonight.
Ever wonder what psychedelic mushrooms look like? Now you know. Growing out of manure, and they're all over the place here.
Surviving as two means working to your strengths, and in this case, I can afford to let Logan pick and choose what he wants to put his efforts into.
Here, the horses up on the top of the hill, and they're leaving me something I can use. As long as it's dry, it'll work.
Oh, I had a little bit, I think I got it out, but I had a little sliver of the tree when it fell down there that got lodged right in my eye, and that's what I've been really worried about happening. I don't want to break a stick and have it go right into my eye, lose my eye, put it out, something like that. That would cause a lot of problems.
Oh, there we go. Something I can actually eat. Little violets. And they are edible until they get bitter. Sweet. Bitter.
All the little sharp bits. Oh, I'm just digging into my skin right now. Sucks. All right, I think I got most of it.
Time and again, Logan serves as an extra set of eyes, where normally it's just me out here. It's been my opinion that survival with more than one person is always preferred, as there are so many advantages to working together if you can. It's Logan who spots them first.
There's a whole bunch of horses up there. So we've got wild horses hanging out up from where we're surviving in a wolf den. It was an active first night. Well, at least the horses led me up to some rose hips.
And here, try these. So what you want to do is take it and just suck the bright blue end of it, just for a few seconds while it's still sweet, and then spit it as it gets bitter.
It's already bitter.
Yeah, it only takes a split second.
It's always bitter.
No, they'll be, you just missed it. They're not that sweet, but there's a little touch of sweetness and there's some nutrients in them, and then it's bitter. Then stop.
Still bitter.
Oh, well. All right, we'll find more rose hips instead then.
I'm gonna go find some fireweed. There's a bunch actually right beside me and up ahead. Basically, it's this big patch of it.
Teaching Logan to recognize characteristics of plants and survival materials rather than names is vital to his understanding of how to survive.
Because we're in Mongolia, I've got a traditional striker, which has got lots of cool factor going on here.
All right, so the little pouch contains this little bit of sheep's wool, is what they told me it was. The way this works is this is going to catch a spark. And this is what we're going to strike, right, the rock. You hold this really close to the edge. For me, it's always about follow through, like that. Nice flow and follow through. And then you got to recognize when you've caught a spark. I caught one. So I'm going to put it right in here. Get it right in here. I'm giving it a bit of air. Slow it first. Not too loose, make it like a furnace in there.
Knowing how to use traditional methods of fire starting only makes our modern versions that much easier.
This is gonna work. Breathe to the side. There we go. And then get your stuff on it real quick. You gotta get these twigs going. If they don't catch,
you're in trouble. You gotta be so on these flames, you look away for a second, and you lose the flame.
This little baby was given to me by one of our Mongolian guides to bring out here. So I didn't want to turn down the gesture because it's ultimately very cool. So this is the last of this. Boil this up and give Logan and I a bit of evening nutrition here. Here we go. Rosehip tea. It's sweet. And it's full of vitamin C, so.
As we lay on the cold ground in our traditional Mongolian coats, the heat reflects off the wall of rock, keeping the cold night temperatures at bay. We're not far from civilization, so we could walk out. But Logan and I are here to survive, so hiking in deeper is the order of the day.
Actually, the reflection of the heat off that big rock was incredible. And we probably each had to get up a good 6 times to stoke the fire, but every time we did, the amount of heat just knocked us right back to sleep again. But what we're going to do is head in. It's onwards and upwards, and in this case, definitely upwards.
It's easy to suffer from what I call option anxiety, when the choices are many. It's the fear of making the wrong decision. In survival, a right turn instead of a left or going up instead of down can prove to be very costly. So you can't jump into things without calculating all the risks. Now, with 2 people trying to make sense of it in our minds, it's tough to figure out just what to do next.
So, option A is just go straight up. It's not that far, but it's gonna be steep. Option B is go all the way down there and then have a slower incline.
Yeah, but and look, you see what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
So,
Up through there and then up.
what if we followed up through there?
So when I was looking at it before, it looked like it goes there and then it goes even steeper than this, up farther. My gut instinct is to go up here from what I saw up there too.
I disagree. We know there's nothing up there. It's just barren and nothingness.
All right, well,
We could split up.
yeah, I'm going up this way either way.
I'd like to actually go up here, but now that I think of it, the split up
Yeah.
might be cool because it'll give us a chance to
Give you double,
essentially
yeah.
reconnaissance mission. You might spot something up there. You might go, holy mackerel, there's an awesome cave. And there's tons of firewood and there's a pool of water. Who knows, right? What I'll do is if I go this way
Yep.
and I stay on this side of the trees
Yep, just so I can
in
see you.
the open the whole way, and you stay
Right on the top.
in the open the
Yep.
whole way, I can whistle really loud. If I do one whistle, like that, that just means wave to me.
Yep.
You know, just establish that you heard me, wave to me. If I whistle anything more than once, it means come down to me.
Okay.
And we'll both meet at the end. Okay? Good luck.
Giving Logan a chance to call the shots will give him confidence, but I can only allow it to go so far. If he runs into trouble now, he's on his own.
All right, so we split up now. I would never have suggested this myself. Not in a million years. To split up from Logan, but since it was his suggestion, I'm gonna go with it. It does make me very nervous to separate from him, but he's not a kid anymore. And it does make sense to see what each of us can find. And we are very, very lucky that it's a cloudy day. I mean, I hope it doesn't come on to rain, but the clouds are really good for us having to do a trek like this.
Going along, as I'm going, I see these little guys. I believe it's some type of cacti. As I'm going, I'm gonna keep picking them up and bring them back for my dad.
I'm tempted to go and seems like there's a little cave-like structure up there. I have a little bit of energy. Maybe I'll take the pack off and go take a look at that. What I like about this side is it's the lee side, so it's protected from the wind. If we end up over there, I'm not sure what'll happen, but looks like there's a couple of nice little one-person shelters, but yeah, climb was for nothing. I mean, sure, we could scramble under there in a downpour, but it ain't much of a shelter. I don't see Logan anymore. It won't be long before he makes it to a spot, though. Well, I'm gonna stick to the course and get my pack up on the hill where I hope there's shelter, and then I'll go. Whoa! As long as I don't break my ankle, and then I'll go see what's going on with Logan. That was a gopher hole I just fell in.
I just gotta keep pushing forward as best as I can. Take 30-second breaks here and there. I think that's my best option. From being from Ontario, the elevation's a lot lower. So I mean, the elevation difference here when you're in the valleys or going up in the mountains isn't that much. But compared to living in Ontario, it's definitely a big difference. It's a lot harder to breathe.
So, this is a mountain climber's trick, is to, with every step, allow your knee to lock, 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 lock. And that's supposed to be easier on the legs for going uphill. I've been trying it for a couple of years now, and as far as I'm concerned, it works. So I'm definitely doing it here. This is all uphill. So, by the looks of things, Logan's going to come face to face with some wild horses. They're right on his path.
I'm gonna lose eye contact with my dad in a minute for the next little while. So hopefully he stops and waits.
And we were supposed to be able to see each other, and I don't see him at all. I think his trek's gonna be longer and tougher.
We could see the horses here the other day, but I'm actually looking at 4 of them right now, and they're really close.
All right. Whew. Huh. Looks to me like Logan's actually with the horse. That would not be good. If some wild stallion wouldn't allow Logan to come up the hill. I don't know if they're aggressive here or not. Shoot. I hope he's okay. I gotta get up there. Damn. And I still got the steepest incline to do yet. Stallions can be tough, and I don't see them. Yeah, I just lost sight of them.
After splitting up from Logan for the hike, my fears are being realized.
Okay, I just heard a horse, whinnying like crazy on these wild stallions. Well, then I heard some talking. Logan's up there. He made it past the horse. Whew. Had my heart going for a while there. Lost some calories to adrenaline.
Fortunately, Logan was able to sidestep the wild horses.
There he is. Looks like he definitely had the easier path. Oh, it just doesn't look that bad coming up here.
Honestly, it was easy peasy.
The upside of going up there is I did find a little bit of food.
Oh, a bunch of violets.
Violets.
And that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, excellent, good call. So these little guys, I don't actually know what they're called, but they're really sweet.
Found a bunch.
We have no tarp, no tent, no covering. If we don't find awesome rain shelter here,
Go back?
We think about going back.
Going back in a survival situation is a calculated risk. Going forward into the unknown is a fool's game. Salvation could indeed be just up and around the corner, which is why I believe in always doing scouting missions. But turning back means assurities, reduced stress, reduced fears, and ultimately, safety.
Let's get out of here. This side of the mountain range is taking the brunt of the wind and now the rain. How quickly this changed. We were sitting on the top of the hill, munching on some of these little plants, and within 30 seconds, it's like, oh, we gotta head out of here. Unfortunately, it's such a huge hassle sometimes to retrace your steps and go back. It feels like you've failed or something like that, but that's not the case. Often, it is the safest, best thing to do. Too many people have died because they will not retrace their steps and go backwards. They think if they push on forward, circumstances will just get better. And they don't, they get worse. So I want to get us back to where we were. It'll be a few hours getting back for sure, but at least this time, we're going downhill. Harder on the knees, easier on the cardio.
The storm has made the decision for us, so after many hours of uphill hiking, we need to beat a retreat back to where we know we can stay out of the rain. It's disappointing because we don't know what lay further ahead. Perhaps even better shelter, perhaps nothing. In and out of rainfall, Logan and I immediately set to improving our shelter in ways that will keep the rain off and the heat in.
I was coming up here to get a piece of firewood, and I rounded the corner. Saw this guy. See, he's positioning himself for a strike when he closes himself up like that. Didn't they say there was no spiders or snakes here?
No,
It looks like a snake to me.
Not supposed to be any poisonous snakes, but
Yeah, maybe it's not poisonous at all. Who knows what it is? But you want to take a chance on it?
not really.
It is indeed poisonous. This is the Mongolian Haley's viper.
In a situation like this, just assume it's poisonous, unless you know for sure. And that's probably safest. Unfortunately, you know, the other thing is it could be food. You want to let him go or you want to eat him?
Let him go. He's too small.
All right. Logan says let him go, don't eat him. I don't know. I'm getting hungry.
You know, most of the times, I think it's good to move. Sometimes you're just burning calories. I think that's kind of what we did today, was we just burned off a lot of calories. We could have spent all that energy making this new shelter much better instead of taking off. But we did find a bunch of wild edibles, and we know what's further afield. So Logan's had a good idea. Let's make this shelter not much better. And stay here. Here comes the rain.
Don't take chances in a real survival situation. Don't allow yourself to get cold, become overheated, to sweat, become exhausted, get injured, or get wet. Obey these rules of engagement, and you will live to survive another day.
Another 3 hours gone, we're still waiting out the rain. Well, Logan and I are trapped by the rain. It's not pouring down by any stretch, but it's enough that everything's getting pretty wet. See, Logan's just made himself a little shelf there to keep the firewood up on, so his feet can tuck in down there for curling up and sleeping out of the rain. Our problem is that our shelter doesn't come over quite enough. We really have to squeeze in. You can see the rain comes down there, unfortunately, which means tucking back in under here to stay dry. Watching the rain come down.
We continue to improve the shelter every chance we get, which is a must in any survival situation. Always work to improve your circumstances. You've got to be proactive in survival, so long as you have the strength.
This is actually an idea that I've stolen from my time in Sri Lanka. They were making houses there out of, well, the walls were made out of dung. So why not try the same thing?
The dung is dense enough to keep the water out. Brilliant.
All right, so the plan is to get some food. So we got a big field, lots of grass, lots of grasshoppers. So we're gonna catch some of those and fry them up and eat them. Gotcha. All right, so it looks like we're eating tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Look at this little guy. It's actually a mushroom that we can eat if we put it in that pan and get some water going with it and try to mush it up a bit. Give us a little mushroom meal. So, a little bit more to eat along the way. It's only a little bit, but in survival, every little bit helps.
All right, well, it's starting to rain now, so I'm gonna head back. I got a bunch, so hopefully they taste good.
Trapped by intermittent rain, Logan and I make do in our protective little rock shelter.
What I want to do is get our rosehip stew going, just heat it all up, and then clear the rock, because it's going to be pretty hot underneath there, and we'll roast these guys up. Pop their heads off first. Eek. Get these guts out.
So this was sent in with this. I don't really know what it is. Oh. But it's some sort of traditional Mongolian food. It's like eating wood. I think we're supposed to rehydrate this with water.
Probably, yeah.
Oh no, that's what it is. I see it. It's like it's probably hardened mare's milk cheese something or other. You taste it?
Tastes like.
Well, you know what?
cheese.
Keep it with you and gnaw on it every once in a while, because the bitterness of it will take your appetite away, which is a good thing in this situation. Oh.
Huh. The other thing about getting out there and grabbing more boughs and stuff like that is the grass is now all soaking wet. And end up getting
Wet pant legs.
soaking wet pants, yeah. So
This is the thing, is a lot of times in survival, the weather is something that you've really got to kind of respect and hide from. And unfortunately, it stops all activity. It stops the work progress. It stops getting out and doing a lot of stuff, unless you're fully outfitted and you know you're coming back into a dry place. But as it is, we've got only this little crack to hide in out of the rain. I guess we could put our rain gear on to be out there. I'll keep working a bit. I might do that in a little bit. I'm just waiting for my energy to rebound a little. So just went out to get a bit of firewood, and it's drizzling enough now. It's that all-day drizzle, soak you through to all of your clothing kind of rain.
The milk has it tasting sort of soury. Oh, but the mushroom's soft. Like, soft like cardboard. Here, at least take it, have a taste, you know what I'm talking about. Kind of gross, huh?
You can taste that stuff in it.
That's from the milk. All right. Who's first?
Go for it.
Tastes like grasshopper. Yeah. Go for it. It's not. Grasshoppers are good. Next to the rose hips, they're the best tasting thing here. Grasshoppers. I'm stuffed.
So we are trapped in our little cave shelter here. Quite a few hours has gone by.
Well, rain finally stopped in the middle of the night. And Logan and I just get up constantly to keep the fire going. You pretty much have to get up every 20-25 minutes to feed the fire. So the sleep is a very broken sleep. We'll see how tomorrow goes.
It rained for most of the night, but there's always pros and cons, blessings and curses. And this is absolutely one of the blessings. We now have a whole new load of fresh water to drink. Oh. So I'll save half of this for Logan when he crawls out of that shelter. And this isn't the only water that I was able to collect. This is actually a traditional Mongolian method of getting water for tea, is they take the dew off of the grass and the leaves, and they shake it into a rag like this. There's so much grass here, I'm just gonna be able to keep doing this. But in this case, it's not so much the dew as it is rainwater. I wanna do it right now because the sun's just jumped up above the clouds and it's gonna dry all this grass out. So I'm gonna get busy doing that and go wring this out into the pan. We'll get quite a few guzzles of water this morning. Something we badly needed.
With the better weather and some slight replenishment of grasshoppers and rainwater, I've talked with Logan about heading out again, but leaving our packs behind.
Logan and I are gonna do more of a proper hike today. We're gonna go lightweight, another reconnaissance mission up into a different section, a different area of the mountain to see what we can find.
Hiking these hills with all our gear yesterday in hopes of finding shelter proved pretty taxing on our energy reserves. We should have reversed our process and headed out as we are now. No gear, just surveying what lay ahead.
What we're looking for is a pathway out of here. Like if we had to keep going and go up and over the mountains, could we do it? Is there a way out to civilization? We know going back the way we came is a way out to civilization, but is there a way pushing forward?
Mongolia, the homeland of Genghis Khan, and a proving ground for Logan and I to try survival together as a team.
You got two choices. You can go back down a bit and cut along like we did yesterday, or you can go up and take your chances this way.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of going down and up the saddle, go straight up.
Like, I might just hop up to the top there.
See if it goes super far.
Yeah, it's only 50 feet, 100 feet from here.
Well, it's farther than that. The thing is, over there is a saddle, a pass that goes through the mountains, and it's lower. This is taking us up and over, which usually brings you to cliffs and things like that.
So, we'll still hit the saddle. I just want to check up here just to see if it's an
Oh
easier
yeah, but we
path.
could hit the saddle with cliffs in front of us and not be able to get to it.
No, that's why I'm just checking to see what's up there.
Yeah. All right, well, you want me to wait here and you're going to call to me, or what do you want to do?
Well, sure, whatever you want. Yeah, I'm just going to go up, have a look, see if it's absolutely terrible or see if it's an easy path.
You know what that's called? That's called youth. I'm coming up behind you. Wait for me up there.
And now comes the real challenge. Father and son, both stubborn, both wanting control.
Might be right. It looks pretty steep. I'm gonna keep going.
Why do you want to keep going if it looks pretty steep?
At least get a higher vantage point, see what's there.
You're going to get a higher vantage point to look at a cliff that's 1,000 feet down that you can't get down. There was a saddle over there, just like yesterday. Easy walk up and over. That's how this works. You're looking at the spectacular scenery thinking, oh, it's a tough climb for me as a dude, and you're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere. You can't get down. And the fact of the matter is, if we're trying to get over to go to the other side to get out of here and to get to civilization, you take the saddle, you take the passes. That's why they're called passes.
All right, head back down. I'll meet you there in 5 minutes.
No, I don't want to split up today.
All right.
I'll come up to where you are.
Let me see what you're looking at.
Never overexert yourself. It's my rule of survival. But Logan is making his own rules now.
Which way are you thinking of going?
Top of the ridge, see what happens. Super steep, come back.
It just gets higher and higher and higher. You're climbing a mountain, whereas the pass will go right there and drop over.
Okay, so go down the pass then.
Why do you want to climb a mountain with no calories in you?
So I'll go to the top, see if there's an easy path down. If there's not, I'll come back down.
There's a pass over there, right? So it's like a smooth little saddle, up, over, and you're in the next valley. You're like avoiding the pass and going over the mountain.
Okay.
Which doesn't make any sense at all.
So wait for me here. I'll go to the top, come back down, we'll go through the pass.
Okay. I think we got rain coming in.
Okay.
And we don't have our rain gear with us, so at the first drop, we got to turn around and get back.
Okay.
Or we're going to get soaked.
Old man's getting slow on me.
I probably should have just said no and let experience, win the day. But if he wants to be stubborn about it, great, go for it. But it's a stupid thing in survival. You've got to monitor your calories. You've got to expend the fewest amount of calories possible in a survival situation unless you really have to. Logan's climbing the mountain. I'll sit here and conserve calories.
Yo.
Yeah.
So it just goes downhill, not too steep.
But can you see civilization?
No.
So we just climbed the mountain for no reason?
Logan is thinking short term. I'm thinking long term.
What Logan is doing is he's using his youthful vigor and youthful ego to go tougher routes. And that's not the way this works. That's how you get yourself into trouble. So I'm coming down in grass, nice and easy swoop. He's going down that. What I also don't like about this is we just split up unceremoniously. So I'm not even sure where he's coming down. And he's not really sure where I'm going either. Stupid and dangerous. What we're looking for is a pass away out of here into civilization. And if we can find it going this way, then there's a journey associated with that of discovery and survival. Of course, the safest route is back the way we came. And that may be very much where we go. If this proves fruitless, I don't know what Logan's doing. He's probably scrambling down rocks, but we're in between them and I'm on a nice horse trail. I think he thinks it's a race. You there, Logan? All right, well, let's meet up over here. Just keep going before we get rained on. You know, every area has its folklore, its woods lore, its native lore as far as watching the signs. Here, if the birds are down semi-low and calling above your head, if they're making a lot of noise, they very much expect rain to come within a day. And indeed, the birds were pretty noisy just before the rain yesterday. And if the birds are flying very low, yet silent, it's a good chance that it's going to become very cold. So that's something we don't want to see. Every area has its little traditional lore like that. Whether or not there's any truth in them, who knows, but certainly people who exist out on the land trust them quite a bit. It's always good to get that local knowledge before you head out.
As we push farther than yesterday, we make a discovery that is equally exciting as it is disappointing. If only we had come upon it yesterday before the storm came in.
incredible cave. All right, we've got time. Let's go down like 60 seconds here and just see.
A cave only 600 yards past the point we turned around the day before. Completely protected and dry. It would have saved us a lot of spent energy.
It's too bad we didn't keep going yesterday. See what happens when weather messes with you. We missed out on this. Oh, this would have saved us a lot of hassle. We wouldn't have had to have built anything because we would have been completely out of the rain. Heck, we could even stand up. The only thing lacking is firewood, but the energy that we wouldn't have used building our shelter back at base camp, we could have used getting firewood here. Them's the breaks when it comes to survival.
Yep.
This is why I always promote exploring in a survival situation. You burn a lot of calories, it's true, so you've got to offset what you might find with the calories you're burning. You've got to pay attention to that. We both feel strong enough right now. That's why we're doing this reconnaissance mission here. And it's why we did it yesterday. We just got cut short by some bad weather. Otherwise, we were going to walk up this. We would have seen that cave. And I guarantee we would have stayed here because we would not have wanted to go back after finding this cave, eh? Which means we would have been ready to go over the top today rather than doing the long hike it's taken us to get in here. It's always a process of decisions. Good ones, bad ones, and ones you just can't control. But you gotta make them anyway. So we're still going up a little farther because there's a hill here we can get a better vantage point, but it's either gonna be a valley and civilization or it's gonna be just more Mongolia, which is my guess. Bro. Once again, the path of least resistance is the way back. Look at this. We're not going anywhere here. And we're up on top of cliffs here too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how quickly it turns. So now my earlier lament about not having found that sheep's cave and stayed there last night so that we could get here and keep going is met by the fact that we can't keep going here. We've just hit an impasse. We're on top of cliffs and we're looking at cliffs over there. See, this is exactly how it happens. Push on, push on. It's got to be right over there. And that's the conversation people have, that if you just keep pushing forward, you can get out of the survival situation. And my contention has always been no. If you know the way back, and you know you can make it the way back, even if it's 50 miles, do the 50 miles. You think it might only be 5 miles this way to get out, and then you hit something like this. You're not going anywhere.
As we explore, Logan's drive, youth, and sense of adventure pays off. He finds a way down.
So Logan actually went searching and found a trail. And I don't think it's a horse trail, I think it's a human trail. So after all this lamenting that we've hit an impasse, thanks to Logan doing a little extra scouting, perhaps we did not after all. And that's when I'm willing more to take a chance, you know, to get out of an area and then you start to see a well-established human trail and it's leading down and in the right direction. It's a gamble to take, I guess.
So I bet you this is the trail then down.
It's the trail down, but again, it's like down to where? You know, you'd have to go down quite a ways to see if it goes anywhere. And then you've got all that forest down there. Like, where does it actually go?
You're a long ways down. But if this is the path...
I mean, if we chance this tomorrow, we could go a long way and not be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back the way we came in, we know where to go. Decisions, decisions. Going up and over this pass and going down makes sense. But that is also what's got people in trouble before. I think what we're going to do is go back to base camp, which is a few hours back, settle in, try to get a bit of food. And if we're going to come out this way, we'll suit up tomorrow and come out. Survival situations always demand a lot of decision-making, constant decision-making. Choices can be tricky.
I can take this moment back at the safety of our camp to challenge Logan. He's never attempted fire without matches before. Let's see if he's been paying attention to the master, his dad.
What are you gonna try and do?
So I was just gonna use the striker and try to strike up some of the grass.
Okay.
I'm already frustrated that he won't take my advice on using the horse dung, and I'm doubtful the brittle weeds he's chosen are the right thickness. But he's going by my initial teaching of watching for characteristics and is making his own judgment call.
I don't see any smoke. I don't think you got anything.
Had it.
Do you want me to give it a shot?
No, I'll try this one, and if not, then you go for it.
But in survival, you live and die by your judgment calls. There's no room for ego, his or mine. And he's proving me wrong.
Hey, right on.
This is what you gotta have ready too. Lots of sticks.
Nice. So that worked? Your method with the grass worked.
I've survived in every ecosystem the world has to offer. Started fires in all manner of ways. Built shelters, foraged, hunted, and fished for food. I've navigated across difficult lands. Built signaling devices and treated injuries. All in the name of wilderness survival. All with the motivation and the agenda of connecting people, of connecting myself to nature. It's now my son and my daughter's time to do the same. For without connecting to the land, to nature, without protecting and caring for our natural world, there is no survival. If you want to continue on this journey with me, go to oln.ca.